All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. It's been a hectic morning for me. My wife's out of town, so I had to go to a Mother's Day event for my kids. And of course, when I came back, nothing was working. So I've kind of unplugged and replugged a lot of things. So thanks for joining us. And what we're going to have a look at today is we're going to continue on with the Xamarin.Forms UI challenge, which is basically this one that I have on the screen here. So that should be a little bit of fun. So in the last stream, we did the basics of this. In fact, I can run this up. In fact, I'm already running it. Let's have a look at what we have at the moment. So this is basically where we got to. It's kind of not too bad if we have a look at that particular page, for example. It's not too bad. We've basically got it there. But what I wanted to play around with today was with Skia to basically try and create this temperature section that we have here. Go and do that in Skia here, because at the moment this is basically some images that I've got going on here. So that's what I'm going to try. And Skia, exactly, R2AU, skiing down the slopes. Now, I'm not good at Skia, so some of you might be. So if you've got any tips as I go through, let me know. But this is basically what we're going to do. And hopefully everyone's had a good week. It's Friday here in Australia. And hopefully everyone enjoyed Build, or at least the recordings of Build as well. So let's get started. And let's first of all have a look at this page here and talk about how we're going to grab this temperature section here and move it out. And I think probably what I'll do is I'll create a control for this. So this is the main page that we have here. So we've got our dashboard in here. Just reduce that down a little bit. We've got our temperature section, and this bit here is the temperature gauge. Okay, so you can see that we've got a grid, we've got a pancake view, which is nice. It gives me my nice rounded corners inside of there. But then basically what we have is an image for our thumbnail inside of there, and our temperature gauge image, which is basically what's giving us the background here. So let's give this a go. Let's go ahead, and I suppose I'll just create a control to start with. So come over here. Just look, see if I'm dropping any frames or whether my internet's playing up. Doesn't seem to be. All right, so let's go and add a new item in. We'll go and create ourselves a content view. Let's make this our gauge control, I suppose. All right, and probably what we're going to have inside of here, I think, we'll throw a grid in here, because all good designs start with a grid, right? And then what we want to do is we basically want to put SkiaSharp inside of here. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to add some NuGets into my solution. There's a couple of NuGets that we might want to add. So if we go and have a look at SkiaForms, maybe. SkiaSharp use forms. Let's go and add that bad boy in. Oh no, I'm starting to dance. All right, cool. So we got that in there. Let's go and add in our namespace. So XML, NS, Skia. This one here, I suspect. All right, and throw ourselves in a Skia canvas view. Okay, so that's going to give us our canvas that we're going to be able to draw on. We want to give this a name, I think. Few attributes here. So this is our temp gauge canvas. Right, what else do we want in here? I suppose we'll just fill the grid. That'll probably be all right. Let's just go with that one for the moment. And we'll just see. Okay, we'll just see whether we can get something rendered out on this. So what we actually have for Skia is we basically have a paint surface, and that paint surface is effectively where all your drawing operations go on. So there's my my paint surface that I've got inside of there. Okay, beautiful. And so this is where Skia stuff happens. Right. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead. Maybe what would be a good plan, just to make sure that everything is working, first of all, let's just create ourselves perhaps a brush and create ourselves a rounded rectangle, perhaps. So background brush, maybe. So we want to have an SK paint object, I'm pretty sure. There's our background brush. A new paint object, beautiful. We'll have a style. Song finished abruptly. And let's just do a fill. Let's set its color. So Skia has its own color setting. So maybe we'll say, let's turn this red. So we can get a Xamarin.Forms color, and then we can to Skia it, can't we? To SK color. That might be. Xamarin.Forms views. Okay. All right, that'll probably do us, I think. Cool. Now let's try and see what happens. Let's draw maybe a rounded rect to begin with. But normally the way Skia stuff starts, and let me go and have a look at the SkiaSharp documents. Forms. So there's some really good docs on this, and I know Glenn Stevens actually did a lightning lecture at Xamarin University where he created some controls with SkiaSharp. I probably should have watched that beforehand. Anyway, okay, so let's have a look at the basics here. So we got our Skia reference. Yep, that's all good. This is doing a tap. We've got a paint object. Okay, so normally the cat clock video is really good. Yeah, you know what I realized, Lachlan, is that my maths really sucks, actually. and yeah. Okay, so the first thing is we've got some objects here. So our info, that tells us a little bit of info about our image inside of there. Now, what I'll do is let's draw ourselves just a background. Draw background. So in order to do this, let's basically say canvas.draw. Should I draw a rounded rect? What is it after? It's after a rect. So let's create one of those. It's a rect object. That would be new rect from Lachlan. You've started reading maths for programmers. Wow, maybe I should do that. It sounds like pretty hard going. Okay, so our right should be like our info dot width, I reckon. And our bottom should be our info dot height. Okay, so now maybe what we can do is we can say, hey, let's go and draw ourselves a rounded rect. in the background bounds, probably more like a frame really, with our paint, which is our background brush. Is there a thing that gives us a rounding? Assuming there is. RX and RY. Okay, so after that, let's give it corner radius of 2020, for example. I think that'll be in pixels, by the way. That's the way. That's not right. Yeah. The one that gives us a float X, float Y. That should be about right. And what am I doing with my life? Okay, I can't type. So that, Lachlan, it's kind of like F for dummies, F sharp for dummies. Oh no, just like A for dummies. God, why am I reading the F like that? All right, so hopefully that will just give us a nasty red rectangle if this works. I can see that it's dropping a few frames. Anyway. Right, so we've got our gauge here. Let's go and see what happens if we get this pancake view here. And what we'll do is we'll go insert our control here. Gauge control. Do we have a height request on this? Stuff there. Get rid of that thumb for a moment as well. You know what? Maybe we should put the height request here. See what happens. Sure, I've forgotten something. Hey, there we go. We've got ourselves. We've done it. We've done Skia. There's our border. This stuff here, beautiful. Bit high, isn't it? Let's make that. I remember I've got reload turned on in this. Yeah, it looks like I do. Okay, didn't cause a redraw. Cool. Okay, so there we are. We've got our basics now. So let's have a look at our design, see what we're trying to do here. So we're going to have ourselves a gradient in the background. So that might be a first start. Get ourselves a thing. Now, the basic plan that I had here was that the way this control will work, it'll basically be a rounded rectangle like we have. And then this, in order to get this, my assumption is with this design that this is a cutout section from that background. So I'm going to create a mask that sort of sits there and will exclude the background from that mask using something like, and the challenge here is that we've got this little angle here. So we'll need to basically exclude that from our. Okay, so let's go with that now. Let's do the gradient background first of all. So let's go to my apologies. I'm going to be looking at lots of docs as we go through here. In fact, actually, that's something worth mentioning. The samples are actually really, really good. Not Xamarin.Forms samples. Maybe the Skia samples. There's lots of good stuff in here. Yeah, that's in here. Basics, curves, effects. what I'm looking for is some linear gradient code. Gradient transitions. Is there a linear gradient? Must be a gradient. Plus the gradient transitions C#. So let's have a look. So the way that we would do this is we would do a linear gradient. We'd create ourselves a shader. That's the general idea. Let's come back here. Control. So I'm writing in code, so there's no sort of live reload that I have. All right. Anyway, cool. Let's draw our background. Let's get ourselves a gradient brush. I don't restart. Just so one of those days. Just wait for that to stop. Cool. So I should be able to say, hey, let's go and get that background brush. Create myself a shader. All right, so then what this gives us is it gives us the various points that we want to do the gradient across. So in our case here, probably want to get our start and our end points, and then create that from there. Our first point is going to be from 0, 0, I suppose, and we're going to go to info.width.height, because we want it to go from top left to bottom right. Our colors, so what's it expecting here? An array of colors. So we'll create a SK color array, and what I'll do is I'll say, let's populate this with a few colors. So from hex, colors here. President, not sure. You're having all sorts of problems with Android projects? Could just be Android. What problems are you having? Knacknode, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. So with your Twitch Prime, so that's fantastic. So if anyone's got Twitch Prime, you can always subscribe. You get a free subscription every month. Beautiful, but thank you so much, Knacknode. All right, so I got a couple of colors here that I'm going to play with. I'm going from that blue, and I'm going to this, I don't know, what would you call that, salmon? Let's have a look at this. We'll start off with this color here. From hex, not sure if it supports that, so let's get rid of that and say to SK color, and then we'll add another one in as well, which is our second color. This will be our salmon color, and for this one, just there. Okay, so that's our array of colors. There. Cool. Okay, what's our next parameter? That's one of those days, hard typing. Color positions. Okay, so this is basically where from 0 to 1, where the color would fall. So in our case, we want an array of floats, float array. And we'll say we're going to go from the top, or from the first to the last, something like that. We'll give us our positions. There's a few different modes here. I'm not exactly sure what these are all about. I think it's not going to matter because I'm doing the full thing, but you can do repeating ones as well. All right, let's have a look at that. Meanwhile, President Not Sure says, I created a Xamarin Android 1 in Visual Studio 2019. Actually just built, but I'm still getting red squiggles in main activity. Yeah, it depends on what you're getting the red squiggles on. Really, when it comes down to it. All right, cool. Hey, a gradient worked. Beautiful. So that's a start. Okay, so we've got our gradient inside of there. What should we work on next? Let's I'll tell you, yeah, are they on the theme in the toolbar? I'll tell you what I found recently, actually, when I was spinning up a new Xamarin Android project. And I don't know whether it fixed it. I updated my Visual Studio. Let's just quickly just try something. App compatibility and everything else. Cool. So Xamarin Android, right? President Not Sure, not a Forms app. Let's just quickly have a look here. App 24, sure. Okay, let's just start with a single. Yeah, Glenn mentions there's some significant updates for Android in the latest update. Yeah. In fact, what did I have a problem with? I had a problem yesterday with upgrading the target framework until I did it. Okay, there's all my red squiggles. That might be what you're seeing, President Not Sure. Let's just quickly do a build of this bad boy. Now, what I found, I think, was that you need to upgrade your nuggets. Let's give that a go. Build started. Oh, hey, I've got some hold music. You want to hear my hold music?
It's the hold music. Hold music.
All right. So that was my hold music. So it built. What do I get? It succeeded, which I think is what you were sort of saying. But you've got all of these errors, which are probably not really errors, right? They're just IntelliSense stuff. I think the solution that you're after is come in here, go to updates, get your essentials, update that. Clinton's here. Clinton loves Android. All right. Ta-da! And they're gone. So there we go. That maybe will work for you. Android, exactly. Clinton loves Android. In fact, Clinton was having some trouble with iOS. Got to go for lunch? Look, you mentioned Clinton's name, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm out of here. Anyway, thanks for dropping past, Clinton. Take care. Have a great lunch. All right, that was a slight detour, but Glenn says Android's my favorite mobile platform called Android. Yeah, same. So President Not Sure, I think that's that probably will help you. I'm not even going to try and run it, but definitely top 10 things called Android is Android. All right. Now let's have a look. Now, next thing I'd like to do think is we want to be able to get this sort of cutout thing happening. Okay, now what I did before the stream is I actually created myself a little path, which was basically that path. I'd President Not Sure, as always, what I do is try nuking your bin and object folders, shut down Visual Studio, open it up again, give it a build. If you still have troubles with it, feel free to shoot me an email or something. Maybe we can raise it. I'm actually surprised it wasn't fixed in the latest update. Anyway, so I've got this little SVG here, all right? And that SVG we're going to use to create a cutout inside of here. And this is where things are going to get a little bit interesting because I'm not really sure how to work with this too much. Okay. But the basic idea that I want to do is I want to load up an SVG, and it doesn't have very good SVG support, actually. In SkiaSharp, it's a little bit rudimentary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself a path. Right? So one thing you can do is you can say, hey, I've got this clip path, for example, and you can create an SKey path, say parse SVG path data. All right? And then you can give it some SVG path data. Now, one little cool tool that I found was this thing here with this really bizarre name, SVG, oh my God, I suppose. And what you can do with this is you can open up an SVG. Let's see, where do I have one here? I'll put it on my desktop. Maybe I need to export it. Export it. Export selected as an SVG. Path 12, because that's how we roll. And then what we can do is we can go to this tool, see if we drop it. Okay, and you can see it's got here, right? So what's cool about this is you can go and have a look at this path, and this thing reduces SVGs down. So it's got all these options for cleaning up all of this stuff inside of there. But also what you can do is you can say, hey, let's go have a look at the markup. And from here, you can actually just go and grab that path data. And then I should be able to come back here and say, hey, here's a bunch of path data, right, that I want to go and use. And that will load it up. If anyone knows a better way, I think I can, later on, I'll try doing some SVGs through resources as well. But generally what I want to do here is once I've got a path, I'm going to create myself a red brush, because it's going to be easy to see what's going on. So we'll say style equals stroke, say yep. Cool. And what else do we want? It's width, stroke width, I think it's called. Make that to SK color, that's a method. Of course, so color. No. Skia to Skia path. Oh, this is a SK paint object. That's why vars are cool. All right, so once we got that, let's try doing this. We'll paint the background. Then over top of that, let's go canvas for path. Why no var? Yeah, maybe I should var. Start. So clip path is what we want to do to clip it. Draw path, let's just try drawing it out first of all. So it's got the path, so that's our clip path. got our red brush. I find working with SkiaSharp pretty time consuming. I sent a tweet out actually asking what people use for tools. But there's a couple of libraries. R2AU, who loves continuous, says if only you could use continuous. Yeah, exactly. I need to get it set up. I might reach out to you, R2AU, and we'll talk about how I can set that bad boy up. Okay, so what have I got here? I've got I've got my path, right? So there's my path. It's rendered out. You haven't done any Skia before? Yeah, it gets pretty hectic. But it works. I just tried. Should I click on that link? Let's do it. Oh, this is with continuous. Yeah, look how cool you are. Are you on a Mac? R2AU? Magic. It's magic. Magic. Yeah. I gotta get it on Windows because I don't get out of bed for Macs. All right. Cool. Now, what I need to do then is I need to rate myself. I need to draw this path at a particular size. So I need to get its bounds. So one thing you can do is you can say path dot get type bounds. So get type bounds. What that does is it gets the bounds tweet bounds. It'll actually get the bounds, but without the control points. So when you've got corners and things like that, that actually increases the size because those control points for corners figure into it. But out the bar type bounds there. That should be about it. And so that should give me the bounds of this thing. And obviously what we need to do is we need to scale that, right? Because it's not rendering at the right size. Now, here comes a challenging bit that I'm not sure if there's an easier way to do, but everything that is in SkiaSharp is pixel based. And of course, we've got different densities on our different devices. So what I did once before is I said, get the density. So the density is going to be something like this. It's going to be a density equal, right? And we're just trying to work out the density of the device because of course it's going to change if you're running on an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 10. So if I go get the size, the width, for example, and I'm making a bold assumption here, which is that densities work in both directions, which I'm pretty sure it does. Then we'll say, let's divide that by the width of the control. Again, there's probably ways to do this. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to scale this. Scale this by that density so that it's actually going to appear in the right size. So I could say now path dot transform, and then you got these matrix things which sounds super duper scary, and they kind of are, but what I found is that you can go and create. So that's basically how it's transformed. So I can say make scale, right? And then I'm just scaling it by %, if you like, or so I'm going to use my density here. Density. And of course I want to do this stuff before this. And what this should do is it should give me consistent sizing on different devices. Right, so there we go. So that's kind of the size that we want it to be in our application. R2AU are these shaders like fragment shaders that run on the GPU or somewhere else. I don't have a definitive answer for you, but I think they do. I think that's the whole point. That's how SkiaSharp runs so fast. It goes and uses the GPU, if it can. But don't quote me on it because I'm really just getting started with Skia. Okay, so here we've got our draw path. Now let's change that. Instead of drawing, let's clip path. I've already tweeted it. Cool. So I got my path, my clip path, and then I've got an operation which I can say, hey, do I want the difference between what I have or intersect of it? All right, so it's like union versus intersection basically inside of there, and I want the difference, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm actually sort of creating a path that is going to be excluded, and I also want to anti-alias this, otherwise it's going to look like rubbish. Right. So this is going to make me a clip path, but I actually want to probably do this quite early in the piece because I want to create this clip path and then draw my background. So if I do this, if I grab some of these lines of code, do it for background, let's do this. Hoping what I'll have is I'll have a cutout inside of my background. So this will render everywhere except where that clip path is. Booyah. Okay, it looks white, but probably if we look at it really carefully, it still looks white. But basically clip that out of there. So that's the bit that I want to have down the bottom here, sort of moving back and forth as they do the slider. All right, so now it's a matter of positioning it. So in order to position that, I'm going to, so you kind of don't sort of say render it at a particular position. You apply translations, right? So maybe because this is kind of like a progress slider, let's add a progress property at the top, which is probably like I suppose it's not really progress. It's progress. Let's just pretend this is like a progress slider. Make it a full property. And what I want to do is whenever I change the progress, what I want to do is I want to invalidate the control essentially. And so whenever it changes, I would come back to my canvas, temp gauge canvas, validate surface, and that is effectively going to cause a redraw to happen, which means now what I can do is in my paint surface, it's making you nuts. That's because I'm rubbish. Let me fix that for you. Can't spell. All right, let's do this. This is going to cause all kinds of problems. You know that, right? But page. you spell gauge? Can you spell gauge like that? No. All right. Gauge control. What could go wrong? Gauge control.xaml. I'm sure if I was on a Mac and I had mfractor, it would have sorted all this out for me. Gauge control. Oh God. Yeah, let's rename it. Let's do it properly. Let me know if I've missed any. Why did I just do a find replace? Yeah, what a muppet. This is my first time with computers. Yay, built. I'm gonna just quickly run it. Initialize component is ambiguous. All right, cool. It's not broken. All right, so there we are, President. Thank you for the spelling tips. Much better. Okay, so I change the progress. I invalidate the surface. Now what I need to do is I've got my clip path. Before I do that, I need to position it, right? So in order to position this, I'm going to have to apply some transforms, right? So in order to do that, let's do a little bit of maths, which is not my favorite thing. But I think what we want to do is we want to say xpos equals the info.width, so the width of this, okay, times by our percent. Oh, where is it? I call it progress. It's the wrong name. Percent. Percent. Do I have a backing value? Okay. So let's get our percent. And divided by 100. Going to give it to us. I'm hoping that'll give us our xpos, right, or our point that we want to go and draw this thing at. And once I have that, I can then work out how far to translate it. So I can say my translate x equals the xpos minus the scaled size, this. So that's going to be this one here. Clip path dot mid x view bounds, maybe. What is that? That transforms it. Path out of the end of it. Get type bounds. Maybe I want that. Scale it down. X. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've got this variable called type bounds. Dot mid X. So I'm thinking that that would then give me the position that I should draw it at. So in that case, I should be able to translate that object. I also want it to go down the bottom as well. So maybe we'll say that is that's something like that info.height minus the size of object, which we can get from our type bounds dot height. IntelliSense is really slow, I've noticed these days, to sort of just sort of fix itself up. Okay, so translate X and Y, and now let's go ahead and we need to apply some of these transformations. Now, one thing I did discover is that translations are additive. So like what you do is you say like canvas.translate. And if I do a translate like that, and I translate it by a certain amount, it then sort of sets how far the offset is. So if I keep on applying more translates, it keeps on moving it. And I saw from a nice little link somewhere that what you can do is you can get it to store its state. So I can say it's an SK auto canvas restore, right, for our canvas, and it basically says SK auto. Yep. What it basically says is I'm going to do some translations in here, and then when it gets out of this using, it'll reset all the translations. So so that's the idea. So basically inside of here, what we'll do is we'll say translations to position flip. So I should be able to say canvas.translate. X, Y, and then do my clip path, and that should be it. I think it will then, after it's finished that, translate it back. So if I said, let's just test this out. Hello, who's Magic? Welcome. We're playing around with SkiaSharp. Am I a professor? No. Why? Do I seem like a professor? Is it my crazy hair? I do. Maybe it's my teaching voice. Let's try this. Before we do this, let's say this is where things get. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say percent equals 50. Actually, I don't want to do that. When we first construct this bad boy, let's just do this. Let's just say percent equals 50. I'm not a wizard. Or are you asking who's Magic? Because the name fits. That didn't work at all. Not at all. Let's have a look. Let's see if let's put a little bit of debugging in here. Let's see what's going on. I think I should be able to force a redraw by rotating. Yeah. All right. So, we're going to follow. Poodle Slayer. That would so upset my daughter. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. You're a fellow Xamarin dev from the States. Fantastic. Maybe it should be Monkey Slayer. But thanks for joining us. We're just playing around with some SkiaSharp. In case you're just joining, what we're trying to do is basically implement this as a SkiaSharp control. All right. What did I do? I totally screwed up something. Right. So our info width was 2000. Our percent is 50. Who wants to help me with maths? Is that not right? Do here. How would I work out that percent to a point? Info dot width times by percent divided by 100. So maybe I want to my expos going to be info width that. See, this is where my suck. Giving my percentages. Width is 2000. Percent is 50%. How come a width of 2088 percent divided by 100 percent is 50? Oh, hang on. Is that integer division problem? What that is? I need to float the whole lot. Lachlan, I need your Maths for Coders book. Wow, look at that. There you go. Something, integer division, something. So there you go. Percent. So now I have an XPOS of 561. Cool. So I translate it by 515. Translate Y 422. Translate canvas. Flip the path. It's nothing. Poodle Slayer, when did the remote iOS simulator get added? Oh, a while ago. I think originally it started out as an enterprise, but it's free for all now. So yeah, you can do the remoted simulator. Yeah, that's not a problem. It's available on all the licenses. Yeah. Okay, now what I'm not sure about here is why that didn't work. So I've got to translate X of 908. What's my 2000, because we're now in horizontal mode. Right, it used to be only for enterprise. Yeah. So now it's all good. Translate Y. Height. This info.height. That doesn't seem right, does it? Still, thought would figure that out. Oh, that's because I've got it scaling like that. Full of fail, isn't it? It's drawing it up here. Do you know what I'm going to do? What's going to make this a little bit easier is probably, I'll just fix this issue, and then I'm going to add a bit of tap gesture into this thing. So that's going to make it a little bit easier, so I can actually go and force these refreshes a little bit more. So canvas restore, translate X, translate, wow, okay, Xpos. Know what's happening here? Let's have a look at your type bounds. I got this strange feeling. Results out there. See, should let me type that here. It's going to put some docs here. Oh, here, the create one. Parsing that, clip path, getting the tight bounds, that should be right. I wonder if it's, when I'm transforming this, whether it's actually changing that thing each time. This is what I'm going to do. So let's create ourselves a variable. So that's in escape. Work with that one because I think this is going to change it and it's going to keep incrementally changing it. Let's try it. Scale path. Yeah, Poodle Slayer. It's really cool that it's available on all subscriptions. No, that's just total fail. All right, let's go on here. Time for breakpoints. Yeah, absolutely handy for streaming, sure. Not having to look at, see, like in my setup here. Let me show you my setup here. This is my setup. What I have is I've got my my Windows machine here. My Mac is actually just sort of sitting down here, sadly. Have a look at it. That's basically how it rolls here. Anyway, let's concentrate here. This is what don't they call this streamer blindness, when you just can't work out things that you would normally be able to do? So I get my clip path, my type bounds. That looks about right. I scale that by a density, which is 3 times. My width is that. So theoretically, I should be positioning it at 561. I'm doing it. So I should be translating it by 515, which is around about half of my width, which is about right. Info height. Yep. So then I'm translating that by those values. And I'm drawing my clip path. You want to know what the problem is here? I just worked out what the problem was. So what I did is, the reason I have this in here is so that I can restore my canvas and my translations, right? And I do my clip path inside of here, but then what it does is it resets my canvas to the period beforehand. So it basically captures it here and then it restores it. And so what I did is I caught it before it had the clip path, and then I restore it afterwards. So it basically gets rid of the clip path. So I bet you if I do this, let's move this down. It's in that using scope exactly. Now, the reason I want this actually to restore is because what I want to do is later on, if we have a look at the design, right, we kind of want to do this, right? We want to draw this outline with the clip path, right? But we also want to draw outside of that clip path. So we need to draw that first element and then undo the clip path to draw on it again. That's why we have this in here. Okay, let's try that. That's cool. I don't know. Depends if it works, I suppose. And I'm going to have to untranslate this as well. Minus X minus Y. Ah, beauty. There we go. So it's not quite where I'd want it to be, but it is there and it's clipping out this gradient. Okay, cool. So now I've got to work out how to position this a little bit better as well. Okay. Where's my height? It's my tight bounds. Okay, so here's another thing. I think maybe it's a bit of a problem. Let's try reversing the order of these two, right? Because I'm getting the tight bounds and then I'm transforming it. So I reckon if I do this, let's have a look at this. If I go and change the order, so I scale it and then I get the bounds. That will make things better. So for anyone who's joining, I'm kind of learning SkiaSharp as I go. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Zoom this back out. Cool. All right. So now what I have is I've got my gradient background with that bit clipped out. So just like what we have here. Cool. Now, let's add a little bit of interactivity into this. So let's make it so that when you drag along here, it's going to move that clipping path, right? And what I did see in the samples was they had a nice little effect that will actually allow us to properly sort of track the position. Let's have a look here. Yeah, see, they've got a touch effect. Okay. So an effect which they then go and add onto their Skia canvas, or actually what it does mention in the docs. Let's have a look here. Let me find the doc for you that I had a read of. SkiaSharp touch effect. So from this sample here, they talk about translation, and they basically go and get an effect, touch effect, add it into the grid, and then they go and respond to that. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, in the meantime, I'm just going to have a quick bio break, if that's all right. So let me just throw a break on here just for a couple of minutes. Poodle Slayer says Microsoft documentation is really nice. Always makes me sad I have to mess with Objective-C. Yeah. The other thing as well, I think it was in Xamarin.com maybe. Is that still a thing? Look at this. So this was from yesterday, I think. Open sourced and available. Woot. I thought we'd already open sourced them actually, but apparently now we can go and we can make them even better, which is pretty awesome. All right, cool. Let me just put a yeah, I'm pretty sure Microsoft's going to continue this trend. I think it's doing well for them. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick break. Maybe let's make a 3-minute break. Grab yourself a coffee if you want one, or for some of you it might be happy lunchtime. Anyway, let me just take a moment. All right, and I'm back. Where did the tunes go? I think on that scene, my break scene, I didn't put the audio in, so sorry about that. You people who still navigate to blog.xamarin.com. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. I should be at docs now, shouldn't I? Okay. Arto, none of the MS streamers have BTTV. I don't really know what that is. It's something about like extended emotes, I think. And luckily, yeah, I took my music with me. Anyway, I'll look up BTTV R2AU. I'm going to write myself a quick note. Enable BTTV. Extended something. Yeah, I think you're right into Twitch, so probably much more than I. So I'm still learning about all this stuff. All right, cool. Where we at? I think what we're going to do now is we want to grab that effect and add a little bit of interaction. So let's have a look at this this class here, and I'm just going to steal this touch effect. Like I'm literally going to steal this touch effect. So this is the routing effect. So grab that one. And so what have we got? Let's add a few classes in here. Let's go and add in class called touch effect, I suppose. I'm running. I really wish it wouldn't give that exception. Okay, so we got a touch effect. We don't need a touch event handler. We need to add a couple of usings in here. Xamarin.Forms. Beautiful. Touch event args. I'm just going to move this over to my other screen so I can steal code more effectively. Okay, so they've got ourselves a delegate up the top here. Should be packaged up, actually, maybe into a little NuGet. Oh, there's probably an effect actually that I can already add. Maybe somebody knows. So we've got our event args. I'm just going to put this all into this one class actually. Don't hate me for this. So there's a touch event args. We need a touch action type. Okay, so there's our enumeration. I'm in Melbourne at the moment in Australia. It's bucketing down rain outside. So I hope the weather's better wherever you are. Okay, touch action type. I think that's it, right? So this is basically an effect which is of course going to have a platform implementation as well. It's also got a touch point. Did I put the touch point in? I don't think I did. Let's do that. It's probably going to be pretty important. Thought that would be in here somewhere. Oh, okay. This is like the worst of cut and paste right now. Okay, so that gets us our touch point. Okay, so where's our location? Okay, let's go and grab the platform implementation of this. OS. It's a touch effect. Lachlan, I'll do subtle product placements. What does that mean? Go and add an effect in here down. Yeah. Copy this over here. Let's create touch effect. It's going to be our touch effect for iOS. Let's let that class in here. So we're going to have to add a bunch of usings, forms and platform S as well. We need to have a touch recognizer. So touch recognizer class is that in a bunch of code to handle things like, you know, touch up, touch down, all that sort of stuff. Let's clean this up now. So this is now no longer in this assembly. Let's put an assembly reference in here. Copied from our good friends the docs. Ah, yeah, stream elements. So yeah, stream elements will do that for us. My apologies. What is this called? This is called Day. We know what this project's called. DayVsNight. Let's make it that. Okay, iOS. Cool. Let's mix up a few of these things. Poodle Slayer, you should totally go get Visual Studio 2019. I think it's a lot better. Personally, I'm having good luck with it. Okay, so where's this coming from? Yeah. Okay, cool. CG point. That's going to be using core graphics. What else we got? Got a couple of things up here. Assembly reference is going to come from. Well, it's not going to go fit there. It needs to go up in the above the namespace. Right. Okay. Let's go with that. Got our touch effect. Still got a squiggly red here somewhere. What's that? Touch tracking. This is not a touch effect. Beautiful. Well, there should be an easier way of doing this. Anyway, so cool. So now that we've got that, we can now add that into touch. We can add it into as XAML. So we can add this touch effect. Let's see if it works. We're under our gauge control and we'll say, okay, I got this grid. Now it does say in that doc that in terms of cross-platform, it doesn't work very well if you attach it to the SkiaSharp canvas, which is kind of interesting. So instead, we'll say grid.effects. I'll need a local reference here as well. Type that. Those things are not. Grab that one there. Local reference. And inside of the effects collection, we'll add local touch effect. Okay, and the touch effect has a touch action, which is what it's going to call. Create an event handler for that. Okay. They also have a property capture equals true. Let's put that in there as well. Now, hopefully what this means is it means that now I will have a method which is going to tell me about touches, right? So what I could do in here then is potentially go and their args dot location. Now, should be able to tell where our location is, and that location is a point that we have in there. So that's cool. And maybe what we'll do here is we'll just say, you know what, let's work out in terms of that location, what the percent would be. Right, so we could say, let's go and get our location. So this will be our set our percent equal to the location dot x, because we only care about x, right? Divided by the width of the temp gauge canvas. Canvas width, right? Times 100, right? And so that would convert a double to an int. Okay. Want to fix that? Make it a double. Equals. Messy. All right. So the idea is that if I set the percent, then what it's going to do is it's going to come through here and it's going to detect that percent, and therefore it'll cause it to paint the surface, which will then come through. This is already looking at the percent here, and theoretically it's going to position it in the right place or not. Didn't do nothing. All right, let's see whether it's actually firing this. Let's first of all see if it's getting attached. That's always the first thing I check with effects. Did they actually attach? Might have been this naming, actually, this resolution group name. Yeah, look at that. That effect never attached. I bet you it's this resolution group name. Yeah, I got Xamarin docs. That'd be why. Cool. See if this works now. Okay, it's attaching. Beautiful. Wow. It worked there for a second, and it stopped working. What's going on there? The challenges of UI coding, huh? I miss lots of chances to do things like that. Let's have a look. What a density. Probably don't need to set that once anyway. Scaled clip, I scale it. Transform it. Get its bounds. Position it. Work out its position. Index, type bounds dot height. Okay. Let's see what we get here. Okay, initially we're saying let's go and translate it by 452 by 366. And that is right. So now I'll click here. So if all goes well, I should basically get a percent of like 10% or something. I click here. 54. That doesn't seem right to me. Feels like that should be tags.location 54 by 97 divided by our width. What's our percent going to be? Yeah, 14%. That's about right. It's just like reading the new operators with each C# release and then using them to death. Yeah, fair enough. C#'s becoming pretty... It's got a lot of operators now. All right, let's go and have a look at what's going on here. So it's going to recall this now. Translates that clip, gets its bounds, works out its position, 162. Translate Y. You then translate the canvas, clip that, undo our translate. Background bounds, and then draw over top of it. Okay, see many problems there. I know why. I know why. You know what we do in all of the samples. I'm actually just redrawing over the same canvas every time. And that's why you see in all of the in all of the samples. Let's have a look. Drawing basics. Canvas.clear. That's what I reckon is going on. Hopefully that's what's going on. We do have a non-clearer. I don't think it's got to do with the save restore points, because what was happening is it was just drawing over it, I think. Okay, get away breakpoint. Oh yeah. Look at that. Okay. So there we are. So now as I move around, it's actually moving that clipping path. It's actually redrawing the whole thing. It's moving that clipping path. So that's cool. So what else we need to do? Let's go and add some strokes down the bottom. See how this has got these strokes down here? Right. And this also wants to happen whilst the clipping is in action as well, right? So all of this stuff here is whilst clipping is being done. This is after all the clipping. Let's do this. Let's go. We should also clear all this up. So draw our gradient background. We want to do that first, because then what we want to do is we want to draw some lines over top of it. So let's go draw tick marks. Put this into a method because I'm going to iterate around here. Actually, why don't we, I'll put it into a method afterwards. I'll use the refactoring later on. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's say draw tick marks. So we'll have a number of ticks. Say 10 seems like a reasonable number. We want to work out how if it's like any project I've ever worked on, you need to make it pop more without having any clue what it means. As a product manager, you need more pops. All right. So the distance between each tick is going to be the width divided by the number of ticks, I suppose. So it's going to be info.width divided by ticks. Yeah, so it should give us how often they need to do, and then we'll do a for loop because that's how we roll. Maybe a star wipe when it appears. You know what would look really cool is as you move this thumb, it sort of has a bit of elasticity to it. That'd look awesome. All right. So we want to go through the num ticks. Cool. And we basically want to work out our starting point. So this is the start of our line. So what we'll have to do for these ones, I'm assuming, is we're just going to draw up a path, basically straight up, and we'll have transparent color, a linear gradient, like some kind of white. It's probably not white because it's some slightly transparent to fully transparent. Okay, so but our start point is going to be a point, and it's going to have an x position of the distance, so I times the distance, which should give us that, and then the height. So at the moment we're just putting that down to the bottom. So the info.height, and the end is going to be pretty much the same thing, except we're going to have a tick height here. I don't know, how big should a tick be? 50? So that would be info height minus tick height. Cool. And now we basically want to go and draw, but we're going to need to have a brush in order to draw it. So let's create a brush out here, because I'm assuming I don't want to create these things all of the time. So let's call this tick brush. New paint object. Okay, so it wants to be a stroke. It's going to, which I wonder if we can do that here. What we want to do is stroke width of 2, for example. So we want to have a shader for this, right? So shaders like we did down here. So like this, for example, I actually probably should do this in a, oh no, I need to do this every time because it's got that. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go and create ourselves a brush here. I'm gonna pull this code down here. We can optimize a little bit later on. Pre-optimization. Okay, so we'll say, let's get the stroke width. Cool. Let's say a tick brush dot shader. Basically the same thing that we did up above. So a linear gradient going from our start to our end. Our start. So that will be our start, and this is going to go to our end. Like this. What's it after? It wants an SK point. SK point. Yeah. What am I doing? Let me code. From our start to our end. Let's approximate these colors. Let's say from our start position, depends if we're drawing up or down, really. So in our case, we're going from the bottom up. So therefore, our first color wants to be slightly transparent white. So we'll say Xamarin.Forms color dot from RGBA 255, 255, 255, alpha of 200. And we want to go up to basically transparent, actually. Right. From 0 to 1. Clamp that bad boy, and then we'll go and draw the line. Why not? So we're going to canvas, draw a line from our start point to our end point using a tick brush. See if this works. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Oh, let's zoom that back out of here. Let's have a look at our initial design. Whoa. Probably got a few more ticks, I reckon. But that's all right. That's actually, I think it's actually cutting it out as well. Yeah. So Lachlan says you can always use SK color RGBA. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Let's do that because this would have to be slower, right? So cool. Thanks, man. So let's go new. Let's change that up. New SK color. Yeah, cool. Awesome. And I'm assuming transparent is actually just going to be like 0, right? Alpha of 0. So if I did that, that should give us the same result. Let's throw. Oh, cool. Thanks, Lachlan. I suppose it's an enum, right? Yeah. All right. I reckon that looks all right. right, what's next? The thumb. All right, let's try this. So actually what we're going to have to do here for this thumb is we're going to have to push this up, I think, because this at the moment is going the full bounds, right? Basically, that's the bounds of my control. Whereas the bounds of this control would be like that. So that's basically pushing that up. And I think for this, I'm going to use an image. I'm not sure if our path is going to do it because the problem is you wouldn't have the gradient beneath it. Anyway, let's give it a go. Let's start off and come over here to Adobe XD and we'll grab hold of grab hold of a thumb image. Start off with that. There we are, I've got my thumb. Let's go and export. Selected. iOS resources, so PNG, we'll say iOS, change that to be this path, which is something like F:. I don't even know where my folder is. Where's my folder? Export that resource. Already have a thumb PNG. I do. All right, cool. That's right, because we had it originally as an image in there anyway, didn't we? Let's check that. Yeah, cool. Okie dokie. Now, let's talk about loading bitmaps. Actually, I'm not sure if it's... Go and get ourselves a stream. Okay, cool. Should divide this up. Let's draw the thumb. So, copy some code here. Display pixel dimensions. Loading resource bitmaps. One thing I'm not sure about SkiaSharp is, does it handle loading from the correct resources? I feel I'm actually better off putting it into a embedded resource and then loading it up. Just get it working first. Stretch. Okay. So let's open a stream first of all. Okay, go and grab that XD image. And we're going to go and put it into its embedded resource. So a folder here. can find the add images. Bring on image. Okay, turn that into embedded resource. Cool. And we'll say, let's go and get our stream from an assembly. Assembly. I'm just sort of reading the docs here. Best resource stream. And then the name of the stream. So this is called day versus night dot images dot png. So now we should be able to create a bitmap from this. Yeah, Poodle Slayer. Wish I could help you more, but I barely touched SkiaSharp. Yeah, well, me too. So I'm just getting started with it. So I figured I may as well learn it on stream as well. I find it a little bit verbose, a little bit challenging, actually. And so they say you can get a bitmap and decode that stream, which seems reasonable. So that's going to get me a bitmap. And now what I should be able to do is I should be able to basically draw this at a position. I can say canvas dot draw bitmap. And for the moment, let's just put it at, actually, did we work out a point here? Worked out a point. Let's just put it at 100 for the moment. Ah, Fuzzy Persian, welcome. And thanks for the follow. Skia is pretty complicated in all its forms, not just SkiaSharp. It's pretty powerful. It's super powerful. I just wish I knew more. Yeah. No worries. Ask questions. No, I'm not very good at multitasking, but I'll give it a red hot go. Let's just see what happens here. Let's see whether this actually successfully gets our image and plonks it on the screen. I really need to get that continuous thing set up, because stopping and starting while doing Skia is super painful. I normally work in XAML, and so when I'm working in XAML, I've got live reload. All right, there's our thumb. Gertie. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to basically go and work out how big this is, or basically go and position it somewhere. Okay, so our location. So let's get our location here, which is going to be an SK point. Okay, so our point is going to be location equals new SK point. And I suppose what we're going to do is we're going to get our X position, which we already calculated up here. Right? So X pos. So that gives us our percent to position minus half the width of the bitmap. So I wonder if a bitmap has a mid dot bounds dot mid. What does it have? It has a width too. That'll do it for us. And for our Y position, let's Let's make this at the moment info.height minus the bitmap height. And then hopefully we can pass in a escape point into this. Sure we can. See where we are there. All right, the general idea is there. All right, what do we need to do? We need to pull this out of the clipping path. To pull this out of the clipping path, we need to push it down some. Actually, more accurately, we need to push this up. So let's do that. Let's push everything up a little bit first. Man, I'll really need to clean this code up. So we're going to have some bottom padding. Put it up here. Put it up here. Make that 100 for the moment. We'll work out how big it's going to be. So we go and we get this. We work out our density. That's all good. Work out our position. So now we say, this is where we're working out where to put it, but we want to subtract, what do we call it? The bottom padding. So if I translate y. This doesn't want that to be this. And this would mean so much cleaning up. It feels like there's so many magic numbers going on in here. Padding, taking off as extra. We're drawing our lines. See what we get there. See how many of these I forgot. So the height minus bottom padding. Let's do this. Is the type bound height plus bottom pad. Taunchy says, is Xamarin cross-platform? Most certainly it is. Yep, iOS, Android, Samsung TVs, UWP, Mac OS. I'm sure I missed some there. Okay, cool. Look at this. So I've pulled all of this up. Right, so all of this has come up now. Now what I want to do is I want to pull this thumb outside of that clipping region. So that was the whole purpose of creating this using here, so that the clipping would store the state of the canvas. It would apply the clipping and all that stuff. And then at the end of that using, it'll do a restore. So it'll get rid of our clipping. Then draw our thumb. Happy Thursday, Nick Larson. You know, actually for me, it's Happy Friday. Woot, woot. So, yeah, Friday. Friday for me. I'm from the future. Ah, wacky do. Look at that. Woot. Let's go. It's 11:30 there. Let's zoom this in. Let's go 100%. Let's see what it actually looks like. And look at that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like I said, if it had a wave effect on this, that'd be fantastic. I'd just... Nick asked, what's this for? Okay, cool. So what this is for is what I stream out is what I call Xamarin.Forms UI challenges. So I basically go and have a look at some funky designs. So like, zoom this one in. Right, so this is on the site Dribble here. And so somebody did a really cool design, because I'm not a designer. I just want to sort of play around with Xamarin.Forms layouts and teach people Xamarin.Forms layouts. And so basically get that layout and try and replicate it in Xamarin.Forms. That's what I'm trying to do. And to do that, what I do is I bring it into Adobe XD and just break apart the design a little bit and then try and replicate it. Right? And so that's what I have here. I have wowzers. That's what I'm trying to do here. I've control my windows here. The idea is I've got that basic sort of layout going on here. And what I'm trying to do at the moment is literally just put in this slider. Even though technically, you know, I suppose I don't have to. I just wanted to play around with SkiaSharp because it's something that I don't do a lot of. Let's have a look at this. Let's compare sizes. Boom, boom. It's big. Just trying to get these about the same size. Probably about 100. Super cool. All right, so what do we got? This is too big, isn't it? Too big, too big, too big. And it also needs to come up some. Got my ticks. Let's scale it. So let's decode our stream. Now, what if I want to resize this? Just having a look at some docs here. Going to have to let's do this. Let's scale it down a little bit. So I'll say work out our image height. So image height. So we'll just say basically this is going to be our bitmap width times, and let's just add a scaling to it. This is going to be the right way. Width equals height bitmap width 2.75. Cool. That'll give us that, and I'm going to draw the bitmap, so we need to scale it. In fact, what we can do, looks like there's an override here, which takes a rectangle as a destination. So we should actually be able to work out how big that is. Okay, cool. So a couple of things that we need here. We need to create ourselves a rect, and we can then position the rect, right? Because it's kind of like frames, I think, in iOS, that if you like set its position and things like that, it'll adjust the other factors in it as well. So let's create ourselves a rect, which is going to be our thumb rect. So that's this. So our rect is going to be, and we'll just put it at 0, 0 to start with. We'll say we want it to be image width. We want it to be image height. And we'll set its location. So that is going to be double to float. Actually, let's just cast it when we get it. Probably all kinds of crazy rounding errors going on here. So our location, we need to get our position, which is basically this one here. And here we want to say image height. Hey, Clinton, you're back. Have a good lunch? What did you have for lunch? Or would you prefer not to say? Japanese, beautiful. All right. What am I doing here? I'm actually dealing with wacky numbers here. I've got the basics working of the clipping path, and now I'm just trying to resize a few elements, but it's actually not as easy as it sounds. So this is going to be my thumb rect. Okay, and right. So the location of this wants to be the xpos minus half the image width, right? This one wants to be the height minus half image height. Okay, convert double to float. Let me just make these floats. Wow, there's so much. Quesadilla. Lachlan, good work. What am I doing here? God. Data types, huh? It's just my keyboard. Image width. A width property. So bad. They're so bad. We're gonna sign in cos are not your friend. You know, maths is just not my friend, actually. That's what I found out. I suck at maths. Okay, so hopefully that's going to give us the location to put it in, or the location of that thumb rect. We'll therefore adjust that and place it in the right position, maybe. Let's see what happens. But it's not the right position. All right. So what do I want to do? I wanted to go info height minus. We have that bottom margin, don't we? Bottom padding plus that. Let's try that. What are you guys talking about? Lunch is making me hungry. Bizarre. How does that look? What do you reckon? All right. Let's put some numbers back on here. Let's put those on, those two SVGs on there, and then let's call it a day. Probably I need to, there's so much stuff you got to do, isn't there? Like, this shouldn't be able to go off the side of the screen. It should clamp it to like there. Clinton says this sort of thing reminds me of the 80s. But like just brute forcing maths and rendering. Doing graphics in BASIC. It reminds me of like Win32, like the drawing APIs. All right, let's put that number back in. That will make me feel better. That's back in, and we, you can overlay Xamarin.Forms over top of SkiaSharp as well, which is really awesome. So for example, here I've got a grid. In fact, I should probably just be able to get that label. That stack layout there. Let's put it there. President Not Sure looks fantastic. Awesome. Now, mind you, I haven't tested this on different density devices. I also haven't tested it on Android yet. Okay, 23 degrees Celsius. Guess what? My slider doesn't work anymore, and I bet you it's because this is holding on. This stack layout here is basically stealing my focus, or stealing my input. Assuming input transparent. We don't care about input there. Oh. I barely understand what's happening here as well. President Not Sure. But it's fun. Here we go. It makes me realize that there is input transparent. That's the bomb, isn't it? Input transparent. It made me realize that there's a pretty big fault in this design. Like, if you can imagine, when this thumb is over here. It's going to be cutting into this image. Anyway, whatever. Designers, hey? Okay. Why is my XAML coloring so cool? Oh, very nice of you to say. It's so cool because I made it that way. So I basically went and imported some settings. I can't even remember what it was called. Let me find out for you. But basically, I just went and imported some settings to do with like one of the themes. I can't remember what it is. I should know what it is. Or of course, you could come in here and you could just sort of fonts and colors and just go and set it all up in here. But it was one of the various themes. The other thing that I have turned on here as well, which is really cool, is the extension XAML styler somewhere. XAML styler, which is really cool because it means that it's gonna style all this consistently. All right. Now, what do we got? Last thing before we call it a day. And it sounds really easy, but I'm going to go and get those two images and put them in over here. So let's go to Adobe XD, where I created these images or these paths the other day. And we're going to have to do it a bit different, actually, because when we loaded up the path before inside of our control, we just actually took the SVG data and loaded it up, but now it consists of multiple paths. So I'm going to actually just go and get these and export these as SVGs and then load them up through the extended SkiaSharp library. So I want to export that one. So I'll export that guy. Export selected as an SVG. Because I'm a Muppet, let's put it on desktop. Already have one. Snowflake. Export this guy. Alrighty, let's go and pull these in. Snowflake SVG and Heat SVG. Turn them into embedded resources. See, look, have a look at them. They're made up of multiple paths, so it's going to be a little bit more complex. Okay, set the properties for this guy. Resource. Give an embedded resource as well. It's a bit more complex, isn't it? All right, cool. All the while it was running, no less. So now what we want to do is we want to come in here. We've done all this stuff. How much code this is. It's crazy. So we draw the thumb. Let's just go create ourselves a method. Draw. Let's do this. Draw SVG at point. Point. Say 100. We'll have the size of it. Float. I type float so many times. Float. The size of it. And SVG. Because in case doing right method. What a muppet. Yeah, I need to learn more about SVGs as well. But there's just questionable tools to use with it. It seems a little bit hard to do things. So this is going to be DayVsNight images. So we have one which is snowflake .svg. There's 100. Okay, point. Wow, it's getting late for me. Yeah, Clinton, you can convert SVGs to Android drawables. Yeah, by Android Studio, for sure. Not going to help me here, but yeah, definitely useful. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and basically load up those SVGs, and then have a look at the docs for SVGs, and then just load up the SVG here, and then draw at a particular point with a particular size. So again, we'll open a stream. We'll do the same sort of thing doing up here. I think one of my first optimizations should probably be not loading up the resource every frame. That would be a good start. Okay, so we got that. Now, there is a library called SkiaSharp.extended, right? Which somebody told me about, which has some libraries that we want to use. So I'm going to go and bring that in. SkiaSharp.extended. And SkiaSharp.svg. Let's find out what happens. Let's see what's happening here. So I'm going to say SkiaSharp.extended.svg.load. Okay, so this is it. This is going to be our SVG, and that we can say it's a new these guys, and we can say svg.load from a string. Beautiful. Yeah, Poodle Slayer. go and work on some code, have fun. Yeah, if you want to watch online, so pretty much everything I do is on this channel. Normally I'm more competent, maybe not. And more specifically, like this particular project is going to be, the code is going to be, oops, that's the issues. The code's going to be there. So yeah, cool. Thanks, Poodle Slayer, and thanks for the follow as well. So yeah, have a good evening. All right, so yeah, it's a bit messy at the moment, but we'll fix it over the next couple of streams. Okay, so now we have an SVG, and what we can do is we can then say canvas dot backlog grooming. Fantastic fun, Clinton. Thanks for dropping past. Pleased you enjoyed the Japanese, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. All right, we've got this in a method. We need our image info passed in. Because I want to say, oh, actually, no, we need our canvas passed in. That's what we need. What is our canvas? Okay, canvas. Right, cool. So now we can say canvas dot draw bitmap, and we can get our SVG dot picture. Okay, and we can also specify some points in here as well. But I don't think we have to. No, gee. Just having a look at. Let's do this. Canvas dot picture. SVG picture. That should draw it, I think, at, I suspect it's 0, 0. Let's see if that, well, let's do this. We have the size and we have the location, right? So first of all, we can say, let's have a look at how big it is. It's got a picture, oh no, view box. So the view box tells us how big this thing's going to be. And then what we want to do, excuse me, is we want to work out the rectangle that we want to render this out to. Right? So we want to work out how big we want it to be. So first things first, we need to work out the size that we want it, and then divide that by our width and our height, like this. So just to work out our ratios. So we'll say our size, and we're just assuming I'm going to pass in like 100. It's going to be 100 by 100. So it's kind of just dealing with a, it'll scale it on the smallest axis. So we'll say our bounds dot y ratio, size divided by bounds dot height, and we'll get the minimum of those two. In temperature. We're just basically scaling it on the smallest of these. And then we want to say, okay, well, let's translate this to that position that we're after, so our location. So we'll say canvas.translate, which is how you basically move. So location.x minus bounds, so the bounds of our object dot, and we can get the midpoint of that. And we're also going to be changing the size of it, so we need to times it by our ratio as well. Let's fix this. Minus our bounds dot y times ratio. I'm sure there must be a library that has this stuff in it already. I just saw your question there, President, not sure. It's an interesting question. What is that slider for? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure actually what it's used for. So it could be representing what the temperature is, although I suspect it's not. What I really suspect it's doing is I can set the temperature and then this number is going to creep up to there. So it changes the temperature. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Which is going to be weird from a user's perspective, right? Because there's going to be this disparity between this and this. But, you know, kind of makes sense. So I don't know. I just wanted an excuse to do some SkiaSharp. All right. So we're going to translate a canvas. We're going to scale our picture, right? So we can do that through a matrix. Yeah, setting a thermostat. I think so, exactly. So SK matrix. So pretty much that code like we did before. Dot. So there's a make scale, which says, hey, let's go and scale this. Scale is going to be, give me a ratio. Then we're going to give that matrix to our friend here. No, maybe we can't. It's a location. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, okay. The ref. So give it that matrix. Now the problem is we're doing transforms here as well. So probably should use that same trick as up above, where we capture the canvas. Yes. Capture the canvas. So as at the end of this, I'm not going to move everything else in the whole entire thing. All right. So let's say we do this. Let's draw a snowflake at 100 size at 100, 100. Lachlan says, or you could make the slider control time of day and it displays the forecast. Break something. Build succeeded. Okay. Could not link assemblies. Womp, 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 womp. Exactly. What does it even mean? Heck, exactly. What does it even mean? link assemblies while processing. Not find assembly. SkiaSharp.extended.svg. Oh, I need to put it in the platform projects. Oh. No, I suppose that makes sense. It makes sense. It's doing platform specific rendering. Okay, cool. Can you just add it to additional platforms from here? God, look. So if I said, really? Can't even select that one. Wow. Yeah, you're spot on. Well, I think so. I think that's what the problem is. All right, let's just find it again. SkiaSharp.extended. It's there. Yeah, it's there. I did add it to all the projects. Build succeeded. Wow. Alrighty then. I don't know what I did, but it didn't work. I call it. I said draw SVG at point 100 100 snowflake.svg, and it didn't do. I got a beeper on my thing, so now I can say, "Oh man, that didn't do." Oh, yeah, my trick for the day. Hang on a second. That's not calling nothing. What's going on here? Where am I? What day is it? Blah, blah, blah. It's going to get down to here, right? Yeah. Are we going to get to here? No. It's got the wrong version of the build, doesn't it? It's not hitting this line of code here. Watch. Yeah. Bin obj looks that way. Let's clean it. I've actually got this command. I got this for just such emergencies. I've got this. Clean this source code. Did get rid of my bin and object directories. That's exactly what it was supposed to do. I thought it was so cool. All right. Let me introduce you to my delete key. I can almost feel. I'm not going to worry about Android at the moment because if this is painful, imagine what Android's going to be like. I'm going to go one further. Come over to my Mackie Doodah. I'm going to remove it here. Yeah, there is. There is an obliterate extension. Absolutely. There is one. Wow. Okay. Oh no, it's because I need to restore NuGet packages. Okay, everything's dead. Let's build that. It was all going so well. Let's restore NuGet packages. There is something for Windows. Definitely there is. Actually, the one that I've seen is the best, which is when you close a solution, it cleans up. But that could also be kind of annoying as well. Build succeeded. All right, we can do it. Build. Go. Build succeeded. All right, let's try it again. The rivers. What's it? Let's see if it calls it. Yeah. Something symbols at a date. Okay, cool. It's there. It's there. I can see it. There it is. All right, where's it positioned? We're almost there. Almost there. It's kind of over there. Probably the X is about right. I reckon the Y position wants to be something like dot. Can't believe I keep doing this. Info.height minus bottom padding. I'm going to do SkiaSharp. I need to be better at this. It's 100. So that's going to put it there. This is we got some brackets. Yeah, what did I? Yeah. Right, let's do another one. Because we also want to put in our heat. But we want this one to be that location, but we want it to be something like info.width. This one. What do all the cool kids do? Do you create variables for this sort of stuff? I suppose you have to. Otherwise it's just unreadable. Hey, not bad. You You can do it, Kim. All right. I wonder if that's a bit higher. This one. So you look really carefully there. It's above the clipping. So maybe I should do it in the clipping. What about this spacing? This need to be taller. Maybe we should make it a little bit bigger. This is why UI stuff takes forever. Here's our temp gauge. A little bit bigger. Let's move those two calls to draw SVGs within our code that has the clipping. Where do we draw the ticks? Oh, it's here. Can we? Gotta get rid of this. Made it to 2 p.m. before my first Git push. Yeah, me too. You're funny, Ron. It's vortex. There we go. Beautiful. And look, the ticks disappear as well. Beautiful. All right. Well, that was super painful. Incredible. All righty. I gotta just a little bit. Now that'll do, donkey. That'll do. All right, I'm gonna have some lunch. I think everyone talking about lunch has made me hungry. So I'm gonna sign off. So it's pretty good. It's average. I need to fix some things. I need to fix this so you can't go below there. You can't go above there. Test it all on Android. Actually, the next thing for this layout actually is doing the dynamic theming. So I don't know. Yeah, basically changing it between dark and light. So we'll go and do that next week. So thanks, President Not Sure, R2AU, Lachlan, Fuzzy Persian, Poodle Slayer, Knacknode, all of y'all. Thanks so much, and everyone else who was on. Take care, and see. Oh, actually, wait on. I should raid. I'm terrible at Twitch. RTIU, you got to keep me honest on Twitch because I am quite rubbish at it. Talk to Me Gooseman is on. He's pretty cool. He does a bunch of stuff with creating Twitch extensions, and he's also part of the live coder team. So I might go and raid over there. Whoop, whoop. Raiders unite. I don't really know how to do this either, but let's give it a go. All right. Let's raid away. Take care, everyone. See you later.